Hello.
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 Hmm.
How are you?
Fine, thank you very much.
Excellent. Boy, that was a hang time. I thought of course I had I had all my sound off because I was doing the remote participation Meet Echo client in the room, so I didn't want to screw that up. And so I was like, how many places did I mute this where I need to turn it back on?
Yeah, I
And
didn't
I
want
answered
to
your
reply
question.
first.
I answered your question while on mute.
Oh, okay, that would do that.
Yeah.
So I would like to thank the working group for being here to provide um, adult supervision now that Michael and I are still recovering from our IETF meeting last week. But yeah,
I didn't travel, so it was just time zone. I just stayed up all night.
yeah, like that's a massive improvement.
I actually think it's easier to change I think if you actually are in the correct time zone, you get all the sun reinforcements to changing your
Yes,
clock.
yes.
Whereas, being asleep at 10 a.m. and then you go to the bathroom and the bathroom is, you know, fully sunlit and you're like, oh, I was
Wait.
asleep. Yeah.
Well, of course, the other thing is that
Spreadsheet.
everybody in your time zone is calling you in your time zone, right? So
Yeah. Well, it was difficult when my kid was little and I didn't understand why I couldn't play with him. I was home, but I couldn't play with him. Right.
have you been bad?
Exactly.
Cool. Uh, so welcome to everybody else, of course, as well. And so I've done a little chewing on the agenda that we have in Hedge Talk since this morning. So
Yeah, it seems like you didn't send it, so I think maybe a few people aren't here because they forgot about it, I guess.
That's weird because when you post the agenda, it's supposed to send it out. And I agree, it didn't go out. So I just sent another message just 3 minutes ago.
yeah, thank you. Thank you.
And I was like, huh, that's weird. Why didn't it go out? So I don't know. I mean, I did post the agenda to the system, so like maybe it just didn't work.
Is this a we need to send a note to somebody about that not working, or would they give it to you to
I
fix?
think maybe we should ask the question. Yeah. Like, isn't the agenda normally go out when we post it? Or is that no longer a thing? Or
Cool.
right, well, we should start. So we have a couple of more people. One more person has joined in the last, I think.
And we should probably start typing our names in places.
Yeah.
Want me to do yours?
Thank you. So it says say agenda. And if we go to list archives,
And I figure I'll type Margin's name in because he's been typing so busily on Slack that
Yeah, I guess so.
so it did not post an agenda. Huh. Okay. All right. Well, while you're doing that, maybe I'll send a mail complaining about why it didn't do that, why it didn't send a message.
perfect. And it'll take me a second to get everybody's name spelled correctly. And so stalling is working well. And cool. Do we want to accept the meeting from the well?
Minutes?
Do we want to remind people of the note well first, and then perfect. So this is greatness. And okay, so that happened. So now, would we like to accept the meeting minutes from the last meeting? Did we? Yeah, this 1028. And is that actually what's beneath here? I thought I sent that. I thought that I sent that out to the group, but yeah, it looks like it is.
I went and fetched it from the data tracker to be sure.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I just read them 10 minutes ago and I think they're fine. Fine by me.
Excellent. Perfect. So accepted without objection. Okay, greatness. I updated the working group document status and two large-ish sets of changes for Matroska. It is now waiting for write-up because the last call ended. And basically, Murray should be, as soon as he recovers from his IETF meeting, he should be putting this on a agenda for an upcoming ISG telechat where everyone will ballot on it on the document there. And actually, if we are kind of walking our way through the milestone review a little bit and then Matroska issues. So basically the waiting for write-up is basically just Murray making sure that he's happy with the thing being balloted by the entire ISG, and then putting it on an agenda. So on the technical aspect there's nothing that we are gating on. We have a agenda item about whether we have any issues coming back from working group last call or IETF last call or random internet reviews. Did I type that? Good Lord. Probably.
I may have typed it.
If you look at the data tracker for these drafts, there's a thing that says what review team reviews have been assigned. And we did get one back from GenArt, I believe. And when I was checking about an hour ago, the security directorate review had not been filed yet, which probably doesn't mean anything except the security guys were at the IETF meeting last week.
For Gen Art, it says almost ready. That
Yes,
means
it's
they
yeah.
wrote a draft and they didn't send it.
That
But
should
was,
be. That is
I
Ellen's.
think they mean with almost ready that the review says the document is almost ready.
Yeah.
The
document
review
is almost ready. The review is completed. The opinion of the reviewer was that it was almost ready, and that review was done
About a month, almost exactly a month ago.
yeah.
Ellen Davies is good. So yeah.
I remember this discussion, and I think that actually he's a little bit he didn't quite understand some of the parts, but
Yeah, and Eddie said
future-proofing.
that. Yeah. Does anybody remember if we replied to this?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
pretty
you did
sure
reply.
they
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
Excellent.
there was a discussion about this
Yes.
Matroska container format. We changed that to an archive.org reference. And Steve responded to this question about how we dealt with versioning. And I don't know that he understood the answer, but he did get an answer. Incomplete due. Okay, well.
Yeah. Does
Who
it
is
say
that?
who? It
Nick
should
Sullivan.
say who. Cool.
Do they have to review the new draft? Since I made one this weekend, they have to go
They
back
haven't
and
started, so they should review whatever it is that should wind up reviewing whatever it is that's current.
So I started looking earlier today, which was later than I'd hoped, and we do have formal write-ups of this part of the IETF process, but what they've been putting on the last couple of agendas was like YouTube videos of it. So I wanted to get, I'm going to, and I can do this, write the nice people on the Emoder folks and ask if we can get a copy of the slides just for me to run through that part of the slides with the group. And that I think I had that at the bottom of a thing for any other business for an upcoming meeting. But yeah, so you're Michael, what you're walking everybody through with the reviews is good to know. So yes. Is there anything else that we need to talk about on Matroska?
I had a question, but more for the future. But should we start now a document for version 5? Because we already have added a few elements as version 5, and so we need a document to show them to the world. And also some might need an explanation. So is it right time to start that?
I would say that no, I would just leave it be for a month or so until we get review comments on version 4. And unless there's something really urgent, but I can't imagine that there really is, but just leave them as pull requests or something like that.
So, yeah, so the way this works, and jump in here anytime, Michael, is that so there are 15 people on the Internet Engineering Steering Group, and this is a standards track document. So that requires at least 10 people to read the document and ballot either yes or no objection. So at least 2/3 of the area directors will be reviewing the document, and they have not seen it before. So you may get helpful comments, and you may get somewhat confused questions. When I was on the ISG, I wrote plenty of both. So Michael is giving us good advice here, which is to it's okay to start, but be
Don't
ready
confuse
to
them.
be ready to peel off, definitely.
Don't confuse them is what I'm trying to say, really.
Yeah.
Can we just have it in GitHub? I mean, it's generated with a makefile. It can be
sure.
found
Just
there.
all I'm saying is let's
don't upload it.
Yeah, don't just leave it as there. Don't go further with it until we we're clearly stable with what we have. Because at this point we could still put those new features in version 4 if you wanted to, right? As far as the documentation process goes, maybe that makes no sense from the status on the ground, right, of implementations, etc. But what I just don't want to confuse the ISG into thinking that there's things that we have yet to do that we actually promised to do, right? So if it's just new ideas, okay, it's just new ideas, right? But
yeah.
And a follow-up question, that's for EBML. My almost same question. We have at least 1 or 2 features that we want to add as EBML2. One of them is rational numbers. I think we have a good technical solution now that we just need to make a document for it. So same question, should we start making a new document? And I think I sent an email about that. Should it be an update of the previous?
I think it's a reasonable thing to start an EBML v2 document now. I don't know whether we want to make this document a diff, so we just add things to the existing document, or whether we want to really revise the whole thing as a BIS document. I don't know the answer to that question.
And we've actually got a topic later on the agenda that could apply to that very reasonably. And I didn't mean to shut down discussion. I was just saying we might want to think about that as part of a different but aligned agenda item.
Okay. Actually, some of the things we want to add in Matroska 5 will need a rational number from EBML2. So I think we should start with EBML.
Okay.
And then that means it should be published before as well. But I mean, if it's just an update document with new things, it shouldn't be very big.
Okay, cool. So I think it's probably worth me actually saying this out loud. For the purposes of all the discussion about what, you know, when to start what, the IETF approval process is going to focus on what's in the data tracker, not so much what's in GitHub. So if we work on stuff in GitHub and don't submit new drafts or new draft updates, we're not going to confuse anybody that we need to worry about them being confused.
Yeah, I agree with you completely.
So then there will be surprise when we just upload a document that's ready to publish.
Yeah, it will be awesome if we in fact do upload a document that's ready to be published. That would be awesome. I'm sorry, I left my some of my filters for what I say out loud in Japan, apparently. But anyway, is there anything else we need to talk about on Matroska today? I think what we're doing is waiting for Murray to put this on an ISG agenda, and keeping an eye on anything that comes in further review comments.
Yeah.
And then ideally during balloting. But I think we know what to do with Matroska, not version 5, and what to do with EBML.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have anything else for now.
Cool. Excellent. So we know what to do with that. And did I get that? Please feel free to watch my notes more carefully than you usually do. I have funny stories to tell you all. Anyway, for FLAC, Martin did the FLAC revision to what is that, -8, and Spencer thinks -08 is just fine as far as my previous comments go. We've had some discussion on the mailing list, haven't we, on FLAC?
Yes, and I pulled some comment. Well, I looked at the replies and made a decision before uploading the new version. So
Okay.
Everything is converged, has converged.
Excellent. Perfect. So this was the figuring out what the subset thing really is.
Yes. Well, more what to name it.
Yeah.
Because I think calling it the subset, which is what it has always been called, is rather confusing. Calling it the subset format. So at some point I figured it should be named streamable subset, but that isn't 100% correct. So I asked a few people, I got some replies, and I decided to stay with streamable subset.
Perfect. And I just have to, I'm sympathetic with what you guys are talking about. From my perspective, the big thing is it's not, the new subset, which, then the next time you have a new subset, you don't know what to call it. And, and I mean, we should be better at naming things than we are, but sometimes we're not. So, um, we will worry about that name. We will worry about the next name when we see what the next thing we do is. But cool. Okay. So from Spencer's perspective, dancing back over to the minutes for a second. Does anybody need to look at the diffs for -08?
I
Guess
think
that's a no.
most people in the working group have already seen all the GitHub
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
So I don't think so. Usually I post a pull request, of push request. What is it? I leave it open for 1 or 2 weeks, and when
Yeah.
nobody comments, I just merge it. So I assume anyone interested has already seen it, but people not watching the GitHub might want to look at the diff. Yes.
Okay, cool. So next up on this, Spencer. Okay, so Spencer, here, let me confuse you less, but not zero. Um, the Spencer has provided comments from the shepherd, which have been addressed. So what I'm doing now for Shepherd write-up is not reposting all those comments and what happened to them and stuff like that. That happened in the working group. Um, I'm basically filling out it's like a Shepherd write-up questionnaire that I write up and post in the data tracker, and then I tell Murray that basically I change it to publication requested, and Murray should wake up at some point after that.
Sounds marvelous.
Okay.
Excellent. So at that point, we now have our third document leaving the working group. So let the rejoicing continue.
Indeed.
Do we need to? And I'm going to be saying nice things about a number of things on the write up. Just thank you all. What do we need to talk about on FFV1 version 4?
Yeah, I don't think much.
Have we officially? Okay, so in our last
Dave is
meeting,
speaking on the chat. I think he doesn't have a microphone, and Jerome is not here.
Oh, okay.
He says, last meeting, I promised to send an email nudge to the working group, but I hadn't done that yet on FFV1 V4.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And so I'm reading what Dave is saying as saying we're doing the prioritization on email, and we don't have to make Dave send an email to the people on the call because he's already nudged us. And Dave, I think it probably is good to go ahead and send the email for folks that might not be on the call. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. Are we prioritizing these in email or in GitHub?
GitHub.
Cool. And Dave is going to send a wake-up call to the mailing list. Okay, cool. Did I'm sorry. I thought, I'm sorry. I thought I had moved this and I might have moved it back down. Michael, did we want to talk about, so I was going to bring up the RFC errata process question on this call, but I might have decided not to do that because I wasn't sure if you were going to be available at the beginning of the call.
Yeah.
So
So I made it back, obviously. I think we should talk about it. To me, it's pretty obvious, but it's probably worth stating what's obvious to me.
cool. I'm moving this up into the agenda so I can take notes. And perfect. So what do we want to say about this?
Sorry, I missed the question.
So I'm typing, Mike. Michael, you want to get us started on framing?
The issue is that once our documents are published as RFCs, they're immutable. However, there's two things that happen. One is that it's possible, and this group likes to do that, to post issues and changes and proposed text in GitHub. The problem with that is that it makes it, to some people who don't understand the RFC is immutable, then it tends to attract comments and fixes or additions, which actually need to go through a process. On the other hand, having a thing in a document in the GitHub, which is, correct and complete, has some value, provided that it has consensus. On the other hand, the RFC editor has an errata process where we basically you add an item to a database, and ideally what you do is you provide this is the old text which is broken, and here's the new text which fixes it. And usually, I would say 70% of the time, it's recognizing that there's a misstatement in the English. There's something that's just not quite right, and it may lead to a wrong technical understanding. And sometimes it's just there's a typo, and we missed it. But there are errata where we need to clarify some existing situation that has a technical impact and people have done it wrong or misinterpreted it. In general, errata are not used for new features. So that's
Right.
a new document. Okay. So the issue is we should, whenever we find technical or editorial mistakes in the document, we should file errata for that. And we can also fix them in GitHub, and that's fine. The issue is that we need to be clear which ones are errata fixes and which ones maybe just people suggesting an entirely new feature, version 5, for instance, for what was it, Matroska. So we just need to be clear, because not everything has the same level of consensus understanding. And probably we should have a branch that is for each RFC as it's published. We should probably create a branch in GitHub and say that's where we would put typos and fixes like that are also written it down as errata. That would be the best thing. And then, we can merge that branch when we have a new version. At that point, we do.
Well, Matroska already has the very nice build system to, split the versions.
Mm-hmm.
I think for FLAC, the branching off would be the best solution.
Yeah, even though we have the build system, the thing is, I want to be really clear for people who are outside of this working group that they're, when they look at it, they are not confused into thinking that some of the proposals are in fact already have consensus.
Okay, so should we branch off the stable state, or should we branch off the state without consensus? Because usually people, when they look at the GitHub, they look at the master. Should the master mirror their RFC, or should the master be the one with...
I'm okay that the master is our work in progress. That's understood. I think we should have a branch called RFC XYZ, which we branch, which only has the errata that we might apply, and we should probably update the README for both pieces to make it clear what they're there.
I'm okay with the branch, but on EBML, which is the RFC we have published already, we have a tag on GitHub that says errata RFC 8795 for.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means if you go on GitHub, you click on that label. I sent a link on the chat. You
Mm-hmm.
see which ones are closed, the ones that are merged, the ones that are refused. You can see the ones that are open. You have merge requests, means actual code, and issues, that's actually things that need to be fixed. So basically, I think just with the label, for outsiders, you already have a view of what's been fixed or what needs to be fixed.
Okay, so the conversation we are having is a very good conversation for us to have, but it would be good for us to think about. I think Spencer's opinion is that we're talking about the way things would work if the world made sense, which is not always the case when we're talking about the RFC system. So if I was to paste this link into the chat. Oh, sorry. I don't know if I cut somebody off.
No, I don't know.
No.
You were talking.
I heard a sound that sounded like someone.
Yeah, there was a squawk.
Squawking, and I was afraid of what I had done to someone. Okay, so up at the top of this that Michael has just opened, there is a thing about. Okay, so this is about not filing errata, but how to verify errata. And this is something that actually happens from an area director. So like basically, and because reasons, which we don't have to talk about now, we can say the area director, that people are going to report errata, and the area director is going to probably talk to us and then say, how should I process the errata that's been filed? Okay. So, and you see the thing about, is this a technical or an editorial type of errata? And then these here where we say verified means that we have looked at it and we agree that there's a problem, and we have agreed that the solution that was proposed is reasonable. Or you could be reported. I'm going through on.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go to the details,
number
but
two.
I think the process, Spencer, though, is that we're likely to receive most errata in the form of either issues on GitHub or pull requests or maybe emails. And that what I'm suggesting we should be doing is we should be doing exactly like this with these issues with the errata. But what I would like to do is I would like to have a branch. Okay, in this case, we would branch it already, which says, RFC 8794. And it's exactly the base point of that branch should be the exact text that we published with whatever RPC changes we made.
Exists.
Yes, I know. I realize that. I realize that, right? And then we should apply these errata to as there, and the commitment in the commit message for that errata, we should be referencing, the errata that we've URL that we've submitted to here, so that the GitHub and the RFC editor are synchronized in that process. And since the errata is being submitted by one of us, the area director will be clued in and know that, oh, okay, this is the process we're following.
Yeah. If the area director has comments or questions, he can find us easily enough to ask.
Right. So it should be easy, but all I'm saying is that, and then, so we have, README, the formal and official specification. So I'm saying this sentence should remain only on the branch, the RFC 8794 branch, and that the master repository should say this is a work in progress, and that's all. That's what I'm trying to get at. So that if we point someone at, this new branch, I don't know, you saying it virtually exists already. I don't think it does, but
yeah, it's RFC. It's with an R.
There we go. It virtually exists. Right. So if we go to this, if I go to this branch, then it should say this, it's official, blah, blah, blah. And, it could have it's one commit, 20 commits behind master. That's perfect. Right. So one commit ahead, there's something, update the powerful new. So, okay. So we did that. Right. Great. So that's all I'm saying is that let's just do that. I think that's the best way to live this. I think that many people will come to the GitHub looking for the latest, and we need to just make clear to them about which parts have consensus and which parts don't. That's all.
So yeah, so I apologize for walking people through the list. The thing that I was trying to get to was the next thing on the list, which was held for document update. And held for document update really means that this is a good thing to do, but that we're not going to agree on a fix now. You know, we agree that the errata is a problem. We are not agreeing on a fix now. And if the document is ever revised, this is the critical part. If the document is ever revised, we'll process it then. Okay, so where I was headed with that was, as Michael said, what you're going to find in the errata system as verified or held for document update is not going to be any new features. You know, it's not going to be, you know, basically this is the deal with the errata is saying the RFC was published at some point in time, and what the working group was thinking about at that point in time was this. And they may have gotten the working group may have gotten a couple of things wrong. And so we will either verify them, or we will say, yeah, that's right, or we will do a held for document update. And the next time we revise the document as an RFC, we would process it then. A lot of the rejected stuff is, you know, some people have errata that aren't really errors, but I've seen more that tend to be the ones where it's like, I think that the way this should work is this other way over here, which would be better, but it's not what the working group was thinking when they published the RFC. Does that make sense? So
Yes,
what I think Michael is talking about, and this is a long way of me coming around to say that I'm agreeing with Michael, is that people will be able to get a snapshot of the next version of the RFC by looking in GitHub and what's gotten merged. Am I saying that right, Michael?
They can see the commits, but then,
Yep.
at least in our case, the problem is that you need to generate the document to actually see the result. For example, for Matroska, if we make a change in the XML file, unless you know how it's going to generate the code, you don't know what the document will look like. So even if you have a branch and you can see the changes, we would need to generate a file somewhere on the site so people actually see the actual document. It's like looking at the source code and people expect a program.
Right.
Well, in that case,
Exactly.
maybe you
That's a
can
good analogy.
you can do releases with errata, because the errata for Matroska or for EBML came in what do you call them, in a bunch, so a few at a time. So you could use the GitHub release.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I have not had a lot of experience with that. I've done some, but I'm betting somebody here knows more about that than me, probably quite a bit more.
Well, technically, for every change we do, we actually compile the document into the final version, and it's available as an artifact on GitHub for each pull request. Actually, each build, you have an artifact that you can, it's a zip file with the HTML and text file, I think, and the XML file that you can upload. So that the compile file exists. The problem is that I don't know how long they are kept. So if we make one now, for example, we push something, it will generate the file. The problem is maybe after 6 months they delete it or something like that.
I don't think
So
GitHub
it's
does
not
that.
very, I don't know. They don't do it for releases. but I don't know if they do it for interim jobs or something like that.
Oh
Jobs
yeah,
we
I don't
do
know,
on
but I think it's enough. I think that what was said, Martin said, I think it's enough that yeah, okay. So occasionally we're going to produce we're going to render it and produce what's going on, and I think that's fine. Anyway, we'll want to do that so that we can provide um, text for the RFC editor for
Right.
their um, patch process.
Right.
Okay.
So I think that we and I'm just cleaning up what notes I've taken, and please, like I say, feel free to correct anything I'm getting here. But basically, uh, so our plan is that we would have a version in GitHub that matches the RC as published, and we have a version that matches the RC as corrected. Um, and then we may also have uh, one or more versions in GitHub that matches like the next release, and I'm saying like EBML v2 release of the specification, which we would love to publish as an RC as well.
I agree with everything you said. I don't think I have any comment. That sounds fine. Maybe there's too many versions and we have to back off, but
well, we may not need it. We may not need. Okay, so the easy one is we get something that's perfect as the RFC, and so we're just working on the next version, and nobody ever finds an error. So we would
sure.
not need that. But basically,
Yeah.
for us to be able to come up with something that somebody could find and understand.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like we're beating this. It's a dead horse at this point.
And
Maybe I'm wrong.
if no, I'm agreeing with you. I promise I'm going to do a better job in 2023 of telling people that I'm agreeing with them before I keep talking. But I agree with you. Do we want to try to set EBML up that way now?
That sounds like a good plan. That sounds like a
okay.
good way to do this the first time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're not it's not something we're in the middle of publishing right now. So.
Yeah, we're not in the middle of doing anything.
Cool. Okay. So I'll just put that in the notes. And do people have time to take a look at this in the next month? And actually, when I say the next month, I mean like the next 3
3
weeks or
weeks.
whatever it is. Yeah.
I should be able to do it.
Okay. So we will revisit this at the next meeting and see if this is a good plan.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Now I'll shut up. What other business do we have?
Well, Dave said something in the chat about No Time to Wait 7 overlapping with ITF 118. They're both in Prague, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good overlap to me.
Cool.
Not a bad thing that's happened.
Yeah.
That means
Cool.
the hotels are going to be expensive.
IETF doesn't tend to be so big as to cause the hotels to change prices, but the IETF hotel will be expensive.
Yeah, but not all the ones around it. I haven't looked to see if they published where we're going to be, but if we're at the same place we've been multiple times, I've usually been over on across the street anyway. So, and it's been lovely.
Yeah, there's no venue information posted. I assume it's the same one.
Yeah. Do we have
The
venue
Prague
information
Hilton.
for
It says Hilton
what time to
Prague
wait?
venue.
Perfect.
Dave, where will No Time to Wait be hosted? He's posted a Google Maps link. Kino NFA. Oh, there's no, it's just a location. It's not a hotel, of course. Way down there. So, a couple tram stops away. Yeah, there's no easy way to get from A to B. Oh, well. Anyway.
Cool. We have faith. Excellent. Perfect. And Dave was also asking any good IETF parties to crash. I'm assuming, well, we'll talk. We'll talk. Before I say anything, we'll talk.
We can tell you about them, but we'll have to kill you afterwards.
Possibly so.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Was there a Scotch Boff on Thursday? I'm sure that Hank pulled that off, right?
I'm not the right person to ask.
No. Okay. So traditionally the IETF has a informal Scotch Boff at like 10 p.m. on Thursday night. But anyway.
You could toast anything you want, but you have to end with a toast to the universal deployment of IPv6. That tells you how long we've been doing that. Cool.
Oh, well, it's actually only 2 subway stops on the B subway between the two. So there you go. Anyway, all right. So anything else from anybody?
Like I say, I'm really happy, and thank you all for your support and help.
What is
Okay.
AOB?
Any other business?
Cool.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
Make good choices.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
We'll talk.